Welcome to Service Desk.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Kim.
And today we're here to talk to you guys about buying hardware.
Woo! But first, how was your day?
It was pretty hectic. It was the work day was just pretty busy, but I don't know. I feel like a broken record when I say, but that's a good thing because it makes the day go by quicker. Everyone says that.
Well, yeah, I'm currently in training mode, and I'm to the point where like somebody has to be with me while I'm on the phone, and it gets real dull because they can't always do that. They've got other things to tend to, and so a good chunk of my day today was like do, and it's not terrible. Like I go find stuff to look at and there's things to learn, but I would much rather be crazy hectic some days than just twiddling my thumbs.
Yeah, it's definitely that first initial period when you're at a job is exciting, but yet it can be really boring.
Yep.
I think in any industry that you're in.
And I'm cool with like writing it out and just being like, yeah, I understand. Like we only have so many people and we actually need people to do the work, and to have me do it, I basically slow everyone down. So I get it. But so it goes. Do you have any fun news for us today?
Well, I do. It's a little bit more businessy and less techy, I suppose, but it definitely impacts pretty much everything tech. And that's with this whole trade war stuff going on right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's been announced that stuff coming from China that is electronics, basically, is going to be taxed at 25% more.
What?
25%.
That's where all the things come from, Andrew.
So basically anything with a circuit board or that is considered an electronic is going to be 25% more expensive. I mean, and this is like everything. This is like a guitar. If you buy a guitar, those guitar manufacturers, even if they're in America, none of them are making the circuit boards.
China to build it. Yeah.
If you're buying a R2-D2 droid that, you drive around, that toy, instead of being $40, now going to be what, $50.
That's harsh. A 25% increase.
Yeah, so hopefully, I don't know, I hope this tariff thing kind of calms down, or that kind of goes away, the 25%, because that's, I think, what's going to kill. I mean,
well, circuit boards are literally in almost everything we use.
Right? And that's pretty much, they're all made in China.
Yeah.
Like, when it comes to circuit boards, the whole industry they have there, like in Shenzhen, it's insane. Like, even if you make circuit boards or work with circuit boards in America, you're buying pretty much everything from China.
Right, yeah. Oh, man.
So that'll be interesting to see where that goes.
You're bringing me down, man. This is terrible. It's worse than the flipping Bitcoin people taking all of the video cards.
I know, right? And I was thinking about, that video cards will start getting more affordable now that Bitcoining is kind of dying down, but I don't think we're going to see that.
No, it really, because they're all circuit board too.
Exactly.
Frezza trade. Anyway. Is that the only news you have today?
Yeah, that's about all I had. I saw that and I was like, man, I gotta share that.
Oy. Well, thanks for letting me know I won't be buying a computer anytime soon, I guess.
Or if you are, you might want to go ahead and hurry up and do that.
Right, before it actually kicks in.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
So, as I teased earlier at the start, we're going to kind of talk about buying a computer.
Wait. Andrew, we have a ticket to resolve.
We do have a ticket. That's right. Do you want to go ahead and open up our ticket queue and start the resolution clock?
Absolutely. So we've got an email from a listener named Ricardo saying, "Hi, I'm a listener of your podcast and I have a question. What is the best browser overall and why?" So that's a little bit of a loaded question, but it's got a fairly straightforward answer.
I was just going to say, I'm on a low carb diet and loaded potatoes are not on that.
Sorry, gotta eat this one anyway.
It's a good one because, I mean, it's literally what everyone thinks about because, you open up your computer and you're always being, bothered by Windows 10 saying, hey, this Edge is better. Or then you go to Edge and then you go to google.com and Google pops up in the corner that says, hey, did you know Google's better?
Exactly.
And meanwhile, Netscape is in the grave slowly churning circles.
Hey, Navigator was awesome back in the day.
So what's your opinion on this?
Well, for me, the best browser to use is going to be the one that actually worked with most of the things. And I find that probably 95% of the time, it's going to be Google Chrome for me.
No, definitely. I agree with that. It's fanboy or, agreement, your own opinions aside, I think the best option is the solution that works for you. And nowadays,
that's a cop-out.
Well, no, because I will say I do think Google Chrome is very good. It has an amazing extension support, a lot of customization, but if you don't want to do any of that, it's great right out the bat. Mm-hmm. They're leading the charge to get things like Flash and Java basically shut down, so you don't ever have to worry about those vulnerabilities. And it's just a browser huge. That works, It's really well optimized for modern computers. The problem you get into is on some older computers, Chrome can kind of bog down a little bit.
Yep.
In those situations, things like Edge and Firefox, I think, work really well.
Right. And the thing is, like, we always talk about the big three, which is Firefox, Internet Explorer / Edge, and Chrome. There's a gajillion browsers if you really want to go out and look for them. But recently I was looking this up, and Chrome is the number one by far, but a close second is Safari. So that applies to mobile phones as well. And if you have an iPhone and you just use whatever's on there, it's Safari, basically.
And you can get Chrome for your Apple device.
You sure
But
can.
I would almost argue there, if you get Apple, you are investing in the ecosystem, and it's painful to try and break out of that ecosystem. So it might just be better to use Safari,
It's true.
And then my only other thing I would comment on is, if you're on a Windows device or Apple device, you might want to just use the basic if you don't have a strong preference. Chrome would be best for Android, I would say, in most computer usage. Mm-hmm. If you are worried about privacy or you want to take steps to start looking into privacy more, Firefox is really starting to take the hat in that realm. They're really trying to lead the push to be more no tracking by default, stuff like that.
Yeah, the opt-in version where you actually have to say, yes, I do want this.
Exactly.
Rather than the opt-out automatic. And like I said, there's a bunch of browsers out there, so not confuse the point too much. But if you're looking for privacy, a lot of times using one of the lesser known browsers does provide you a little bit of cushion that way, because 90% of the people use Chrome, so that's what the big hackers are going to go after. And Chrome does really good with keeping up with updates, but it can also break things. So it's kind of a catch-22 in that situation. So if you want to find something like a DuckDuckGo and go use their privatized browser, by all means do it. But if you're just looking for straight functionality, Chrome is probably the way to go for most, especially like a more not savvy person.
Exactly. Just kind of go with what's kind of default for that. And Chrome is a good, just you install it once and you're good to go.
And it does have a lot of nice features, as being able to clear out cache and erase your history and do all the little things that help tweak it and make it run better. So I enjoy
there you go. Maybe we'll have to do a topic on this someday.
Yeah, we'll have to do a full podcast and go through all the different kinds, because that will be a full podcast.
I worked my first job out of college. My boss had a great explanation of what browsers were, because we always worked with users that they were like, well, what is Chrome or what is IE? Like, what's the difference? Or are they the same? And she had a great way of putting it where she said, browsers are the shoes that you use to go explore the internet. You have your sneakers, your slip-ons, your boat shoes. Each one is good for different things. And each one is a good, fits a different person differently.
I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah. So, short answer, Chrome. Long answer, whatever worked for you.
There you go. Ticket closed, I'd say. That's a really good resolution rate. First call, too.
Excellent. We're so good at this, Andrew.
There you go. Bring us more, guys.
Okay, so moving on to our actual full topic for the evening. Where do you buy your stuff, Andrew?
Well, I think we should split this up into kind of two different topics, so to say. Where IT people go,
yes,
and then where we would recommend non-IT people to go.
Right.
So when it comes to people who are savvy and know IT, I would say for me, the first places that I go is I'll check out a place called Newegg.com.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of like the Amazon for IT.
It's very true.
Yeah. And then speaking of Amazon, I'll kind of do price comparisons between Newegg and Amazon. Oftentimes Newegg has a lot of good sales, and oftentimes they match pretty decently. Newegg is very much more geared, though, towards the IT person, where Amazon's more geared towards just the every person.
Right.
Yeah.
I personally, I do Amazon for a lot of my less internal things. So, if I just need a wireless mouse or a shock mount for my microphone or whatever, I go to Amazon for all that kind of stuff. But if I'm looking for something more specific, like if I need a power source or some form of very specialized cabling, I will go to Newegg above Amazon for sure, because they will have all of the specs that I need that Amazon sometimes they're missing. Or maybe they're not missing, but it's worded differently and you have a hard time.
That's a good way to look at it, yeah.
Finding it, Yeah. So is this a 3-meter cord, or is this, is the whole package got 3 meters worth of cords in it and there's actually 3 different cords that are a meter? Whatever. That happened to me.
Another place that I've been going recently, which kind of surprises me, is myself. I actually go and check out BestBuy.com.
What?
Kind of growing up, I went to Best Buy a lot, and then I started going into IT more, and
sure.
I kind of went away from Best Buy. But then they seem to be kind of re-gearing their company to try and recapture some people.
Well,
so I often see a lot of very good deals, if not beatable deals, from them to everybody else, and they will price match. They price match everyone too.
Oh,
yeah.
That's cool.
So that's been really nice. And their online website, actually, so BestBuy.com and not the in-store, has a giant selection of things, which is what I like.
Yeah. Well, that would make sense.
But then again, this is mostly for things like monitors, actual laptops, and not so much the internals. Like you said, if I'm buying internals, I'm actually probably going to Newegg.
Yeah. The only time I go to Best Buy, physically, is if I'm in an extreme time crunch and I'm I have 6 hours to make whatever work. I'm going to go see if they have the adapter I need over at Best Buy, because they are more likely to have what you need in stock, because Target I go to has nothing, and Walmart, it's always you can order it in,
Yeah, kind of after Radio Shack became the corporate version of Radio Shack and they quit carrying all the special dongles.
Yeah.
And then they closed. Best Buy's kind of taken over that a little bit, I think.
In as much as what they actually have in stock, which oftentimes I will go and find they don't have what I need, but at least it was a good college try,
Yeah. So you had a few other websites as well.
Yeah. So a lot of times when I'm shopping around, especially if I'm buying a full laptop or I'm looking for some specialized headphones or whatever, I will go first. Amazon is always kind of my first stop, because a lot of times you'll get some decent reviews of things there, if nothing else. Newegg, of course. And then there's TigerDirect.com. They have usually a pretty decent assortment of all of the more detailed pieces. And then I was recently turned on to something called Massdrop.com, and they try to make things a little bit less expensive. So they'll order a whole, I don't know, gross of something or whatever, and they'll go through their community and say, hey, we're looking at carrying this audio piece of equipment. If you want this, say that you want this, and we'll put you on basically a waiting list. And then as enough people get in there, then they'll order it and they get special discounts or something.
That's a really cool idea. That's awesome. Yeah.
So the headphones I use for doing all this podcasting stuff, I got through them, and that worked out pretty well. But it's a little bit different of a shopping experience, because sometimes you go searching there and they don't have it, but it was a drop at one time, and so you can go request again, or people can request other things. It's kind of strange, but it's good for a decent deal. And then, of course, I'm sure you do this too, but when I'm looking for very specialized memory, especially RAM and hard drives, I always go to Crucial.com, because they have an excellent way to look through. And if you have a machine you've purchased, like a Dell or an HP or something, they have the specs for those things, or you can download a thing and Crucial can look at your computer and make sure that you get the correct memory to go with your computer. Because
exactly. And you are kind of locking yourself. When you do buy it from them, it is Crucial brand, but it's a good brand. I've actually never had an issue with that. I've never done hard drives, but I've definitely bought Crucial memory.
Yeah, their RAM has always been top notch, and I will sometimes use that and then go look over at Newegg and see what I can find that matches those back, because there's a lot of numbers and letters in those, and sometimes I just get confused. And so as long as I go to Crucial first, I know, okay, this is the number and letter I need.
Exactly. So we listed off a lot of stuff, and some of it's probably not going to be the most friendly to people.
Oh, no.
Who aren't
Don't
IT.
go to Tiger Direct if you don't know what you're doing.
So what I would do is, if I was recommending to a non-IT person where to go, my first suggestion would be to go to Google and Google something like, if you're looking for a laptop, Google what is the best laptop for $400. And my rule of thumb is to take whatever price that you would ideally like and probably add 100 to it, because that's going to get you something probably a little more, and it's not going to be spending a lot more money than you would have wanted before. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And especially when it comes to people that are pricing things that have not purchased anything in a while, it's kind of, I don't know, you just put a number out there and you're like, I don't know, $300 will buy me something. Yeah. And then you get there and you're like, oh yeah, well, there is a $300 laptop.
It's a $300 laptop, and it's going to probably work, but it's very, I mean, it's not going to withstand the drop, and probably going to run into issues down the road.
Yeah.
So and that would be my suggestion, is to go to Google and say, what is the best computer for $400? Look through a couple of the top results and look for like common computer models. And then once you find those, I would just recommend going to Best Buy,
Oh, really?
seeing what they would have something similar to that. But maybe go to bestbuy.com if you're comfortable with that. Search through their website. Otherwise, go in with whatever model that you were finding online and ask a representative, this is something that I'm looking for. What would your suggestion be?
Yeah, they can do a decent job of that.
And my biggest concern, or my biggest thing I'd say I'd watch out for with someone going to Best Buy, is they are going to want to try and sell you things on top of it. So they're probably going to want to say, here's Microsoft Office and we can get you a deal on that. But if you don't need Microsoft Office at home, you don't really need to buy that. Or they may try and upgrade you to an antivirus when maybe, like we talked about in previous episodes, there are some free options out there that are decent enough for you as well.
Yes. And when it comes to those kind of things, it's kind of up to you. I do know that Best Buy has their GeekWad, which if you don't have a techie friend close by, they can be very, I've heard hit and miss things. I'm sure it depends on the person and the particular Best Buy, how close they are.
Yeah, I would say I would avoid, I know people that have worked at Geek Squad and they're great people. I work with coworkers that used to be Geek Squad and they're very knowledgeable, but it is a business that's geared towards making money as fast as away as possible. So I would recommend you try, if you have like an IT issue or if you want someone to help you set up your computer, maybe search out like a local IT shop, and you're probably going to get maybe a little better quality and probably a better price.
Yeah. Well, and I personally like going, if I'm just getting a desktop especially, I personally like going to the local IT computer store, because a lot of times it's local, so yay, buy local. But B, the guys, usually guys, sometimes girls, will be there to really help point you in the direction. So if you go in, you're like, okay, I need a computer that I can do X. They'll be like, okay, so you need this much RAM, you need this kind of hard drive, etc. Whereas Best Buy can do that too. So if you have a store to walk into, that's going to be pretty decent. But if you don't, that can be.
That's a good point. I would say if you have like a solid local IT shop in town that seems to have, good business out front, go to that. But if you don't know where to go, if you feel a little intimidated by that, Best Buy is better than nothing. Best Buy is better than going to like Walmart. Yeah. Which, I mean, they carry stuff there, but I've heard that a lot of their products are actually built for Walmart.
Yeah.
So like models have like special numbers at the end, and you probably get that anywhere you go, but I hear it the most often with Walmart.
Sam's Club is similar.
The people who work at Walmart probably don't have the most
technical knowledge.
Yeah, let's go that. Yeah,
right. And again, like all these places are going to try to upsell you too. I don't think Walmart's as bad, but I do know that Target even has like their protection plans where they're like, hey, for an extra $100 we'll give you a 3-year extended warranty or whatever. And I don't know, I always have a harder time actually getting somebody to do something with that warranty, so I tend to avoid them. But if you need that peace of mind and you have that extra cash, I guess Target would be happy.
Yeah.
But
so once you are looking for this stuff, and once you kind of lock down a place you want to go to look, some of the models that I would recommend kind of staying with nowadays. So it used to kind of be like HP was actually, you know, they were the cream of the crop. You know, before that you had Gateway. Nowadays it seems that you got Lenovo. They've had a few scandals in the past, but Lenovo builds solid computers. They're the ones that I would go for right out the bat. They're going to be a little more expensive, and they don't have as much of a budget line, so below 400.
Yeah.
But for that $400 to $700 range, you're getting a solid computer.
It's true.
And you recommended Dell as well.
Yeah, I personally go with Dell anymore. The ordering online with Dell has been really easy. That's been my last couple of computers. But I had some really bad experience with HP, and now I'm working in an HP environment, so we'll see how that goes. But they seem to have a pretty customer-friendly site, so that even if you're not really quite sure, they have like that little pop-up chat box down in the corner, which I personally find helpful if I'm not quite sure what I'm doing, which when ordering a whole computer, it's not a big deal, but sometimes there's a specific something that I'm like, what is that? What are they talking about?
No, definitely.
And when you get into other brands, it gets more difficult to tell if you're going to get quality, which is why we recommend specific brands. Like Apple, of course, is also a brand, and they have decent equipment, but
well, I've always fought a little bit with my IT friends with this, in that if you are just looking for a computer for email, web browsing, something like that, you're frustrated, you're intimidated, and you just don't know what to get, and you have the money to buy an Apple, and you feel comfortable spending the money to buy an Apple, that device is going to last you
a long time.
I know people that have like original MacBooks that were like back in like the early 2000s.
Oh, yeah.
And they're still working fine. They're solid devices, and you are paying for the name, but you're going to have great customer support, and they're going to work.
Right.
But they're going to be more expensive. So if you're willing to maybe go out on a limb a little bit, do a little more research yourself, Windows is probably going to be a better environment that way for you, better bang for your buck, and you're going to have a lot more open to you. But if you're fine being locked down to certain types of programs, not being able to do certain things,
and to be honest,
not being able to connect to certain wireless printers, then Apple is a decent chance, or a decent opportunity for you there.
Right. And honestly, a lot of programs now just work with Apple too, because they've taken enough of the market that most of the big name programs that you're going to want will work with Apple. So that's nice. It's not like Linux.
Exactly. That's a whole nother beast. Places that we would 100% avoid, we already kind of mentioned, was Walmart.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you had a couple of good ones here that I completely didn't think of.
So around Christmas time, especially, all of the places will start to sell like everything. Like, you know, your grocery store is selling children's toys and TVs. And it's like, wait, what? And so I have had people buy me gifts from places like Menards that are like tech-ish, and it's always some ridiculous brand I have never before in my life heard of or seen anywhere outside of this particular sale on Black Friday or whatever. And it's just like, you mean. Why would Menards sell this in the first place, and why did somebody buy it for me?
Growing up, it was always those like weird like knockoff game systems from those places.
Oh yeah.
Where like your grandma saw maybe some, you know.
Oh look, it's a Game Boy.
Yeah, but it's not a Game Boy. It's a game board. and you know, bless her heart, it was fun for a while. It was good, you know.
And she probably paid like $2 for it because it was some big Black Friday thing.
Exactly.
But if you're looking for cutesy whatever toys, that's fine. But if you're looking for actual equipment, don't go to Menards for a laptop. Just don't.
And then you had my favorite one here.
Kiosks.
Oh my gosh. Does anybody actually buy things from kiosks?
I don't know, but I was walking through the mall the other day, and there was one that was selling like SNES, like the little SNES game things, and I was like, there's no way you have 12 of those. And I walked up a little bit closer, and sure enough, it was like a terrible knockoff, and I was like, oh my god, how do you have a kiosk in the mall, you people?
So yes, stay away from those, because those are the people that are probably getting the bulk knockoff stuff and then selling it for cheap.
Yeah.
Or for expensive.
So,
you're not even getting or a Menards discount there. You're getting marked up.
You're getting
stuff.
mall prices.
Yeah.
for something that's not even close to what you think it is. So, yeah, don't do that. And tell your grandmas not to do that either. Menards is fine if you just want a quick little cutesy gift, but oh man.
Get me a screwdriver set from Menards.
I can always use another.
I don't want a new laptop from Menards.
So that's kind of where I think we probably filled in time. Unless you have any other commentary on where to buy things.
No, I think we covered things pretty well.
Okay, so with that, you can find us on Twitter at Service-Pod. We have an email account, which our lovely ticket at the beginning of the show came from, and that's servicedeskpodcast@gmail.com. And you can see our website, servicedeskpodcast.com, where we have both the Twitter feed and all of the episodes and a little background on us. Oh, and we're on Facebook too.
Exactly. And any of these sites that you go to, please rate, review, and comment,
Especially iTunes.
Yeah, exactly. And share with people, be like, hey, look what I found. These cool people who are hip and...
I'm glad somebody has delusions of grandeur, because I sure don't. I am a nerd through and through. Thank you very much. You're a nerd too, dang it.
There you go.
Mr. Video Game / IT professional.
Well, I'm Andrew.
I'm Kim.
And we're your techie friends.